This is the 3-Hour Car Flip Podcast, where we talk about flipping cars for profit the smart way. Today, I'm going to be talking about finding deals on cars, particularly how to get deals to come to you, and also answering a couple questions sent in by you, the listeners, like, "Hey Jeremy, what do I need to know about car titles?" And Jeremy, I only have $700 saved. Is that enough for my first flip? Awesome questions, and we'll get to those today. So let's get started. Welcome everyone, I am Jeremy, the host of the 3-Hour Car Flip Podcast. I'm going to go ahead and dig right into today's show because we have a lot to cover. So let's talk about deals, particularly finding great deals on cars and how you spend an hour or so only finding a great car to flip. It all starts with how well you know your market. The very first step that I recommend for people that are brand new to car flipping is to become an expert in your price range. So if you plan to focus on $2,000 to $3,000 cars, make sure you know what kinds of cars are sold in that price range. That way you'll recognize when a $4,000 car shows up with a $3,000 price, and you can act quickly to get the deal. I recommend going back and forth from KBB.com to Craigslist regularly. Just compare cars that are for sale there on Craigslist versus what KBB, which is Kelley Blue Book, says they're actually worth, and notice how quickly those cars get sold. And there are tons of free ways to become a pricing expert within your price range, so I highly recommend taking advantage of those. There are a lot of free websites out there that give you car values and list cars for sale. So just go back and forth until you become an expert on your price range. So when you feel like you know what a good deal looks like in your price range, that's when you can start working on getting those deals to come to you. And deals don't last long on sites like Craigslist, so you need to make sure you know how to beat the competition. That's what you're going to learn here. When I first started car flipping, I was so excited and proud when I spotted a deal, and then I got completely deflated when I found out that the deal was already sold. I'd spent time researching it. Oh, that's a great deal. And then contacted the seller. Car's already sold. It was already gone. Most of the time, if you're buying from Craigslist, a really good deal is not going to last more than a few hours, so you have to jump on it. Sometimes it's just a few minutes. But here is how I usually beat the competition. The first thing you're going to want to do is create wanted ads on Craigslist. And we're not talking about normal wanted ads. Normal wanted ads are going to get passed over. Your ads need to have at least two of the following three things. The first one is immediate cash in the seller's pocket. They need to know that you can buy immediately and you're going to do it with cash. The second thing that they need to know is that you're going to make it an easy sales process. They're not going to have to deal with any drama, any extra steps. It's going to be quick, done, easy. And the third thing is more money in their pocket by selling to you than by selling to someone else. You need two of those three things in your wanted ads. So here's an example of an ad, a wanted ad, that I've used that's been really successful in getting deals to come to me. The ad title is, "I want a car today, I have cash." That's it. Very simple. You've got the immediate cash message and the easy sales process because it's like, I want a car today, I have cash. Done. So people that are selling the car are going to see that. They're going to know that you're a ready buyer and you can buy the car right now. That's a really important title. And in the description, I'll say, "I'm looking for a reliable vehicle ASAP. I have $2,500 cash and I can pick it up today. Text or call with what you have to," and then I'll give my phone number. That description, when you say reliable vehicle, it weeds out some crappier cars and also lets them know what your price range is. Now, you're still going to get emails with crappy cars. I mean, people, their definition of reliable is very different than yours, but you will likely find someone who's actually sending you a car that's a good deal, and they have been maybe thinking about listing it on Craigslist, but they hadn't, and they ran across your ad first, and you got there before anybody even knew about it. That's important. And you're reinforcing when you say, "I have cash and I can pick it up today," that you can buy it today, like immediate process. I've created a lot of leads for sellers, like I said, that were just about to list their car on Craigslist, but ran across my ad first. Other buyers never even had a chance. Another ad that I've used. The ad title is, "Don't trade your car in, sell it to me for cash instead." That title is kind of interesting. It tends to grab people's attention that might normally go right past a regular wanted ad. I really like that title. Don't trade your car in, sell it to me for cash. You're sort of targeting people who are thinking about getting another car, and they're thinking about, I'm probably going to have to get rid of my car. Maybe I'll just trade it in at the dealership. You'll grab those people. In the ad description, I say, if you're thinking about trading your car in, don't do it. Auto dealers will offer you trade-in value, which is sometimes way under what it's worth. Sell your car to me instead. I'll pay over trade-in value for any vehicle under $4,000 with 150,000 miles or less, or whatever your range is. That's where you'll put your qualifiers for the type of car you're trying to buy. Then I'll say, email me the make, mileage, and condition of your vehicle, and I'll send you a cash offer that will beat a dealer's trade-in price. And then I'll say, this is not a scam. I am looking for a good car to buy. Or I'll say something like, this is not a scam, I buy cars. And the I buy cars thing is a little cheesier. There are some people that have like I buy houses, if you do the I buy cars thing, you can sort of like piggyback on their marketing, which it's okay. It's a little more gimmicky than I prefer to do, but I definitely mention in the description that this is not a scam. Because, there are tons of scams on Craigslist, and people just are going to think you're scamming them. But if you're just very clear about that, you'll get some people that are interested. But after you receive an email from someone with that ad, you're going to copy a link to the KBB trade-in value of that vehicle into the email, and you're going to send the seller an offer above the trade-in price. So an actual example that I've used sounds like this. So I'll say, thanks for replying to my ad. I've posted the KBB trade-in value for your car below. Click on the link and check it out. And that's where you'll post the link to the KBB trade-in value. Based on this price, your trade-in value is $3,000. I'll offer you $3,200 in cash, and I can buy it today. So sellers are really happy to receive more than what the dealer would have paid, and I'm happy to purchase the car for less than I can sell it for myself. And you'd be surprised how many vehicles you can purchase that would have been trade-ins sold at a dealership that you now own under KBB private sale value. Because trade-in value and private sale value, there's a lot of margin there usually, which is why dealers buy at trade-in value. And you can offer them a little more and still have really good margin on a car. So I'm going to say it again, wanted ads are great for getting deals to come to you. Just keep in mind, the less time you're out there looking for deals and the more time they're coming to you, the less time obviously you get to spend and have to spend in the finding and buying process. Hopefully under an hour like I recommend. All right, so another way to get deals to come to you is by setting up alerts. We talked earlier about deals getting scooped up within just a few hours and sometimes even minutes after they've been listed. So aside from you sitting at your computer refreshing the front page of Craigslist all day, like who has a life for that? How do you get those deals before other people? Because, I don't know, maybe there are people out there that are just sitting in front of their computer hitting refresh, and that's how they get those deals immediately. I got a life, so I like to do things a little bit differently. The answer is, how you beat those people is instant alerts. You can set up Google Alerts to send new Craigslist postings with your specific criteria directly into your email. So you'll get an email as soon as something's listed. So if you set up the alert for a 2005 Honda Accord that's posted with less than 100,000 miles for $3,000, if that gets posted on Craigslist, you're going to be emailed immediately after it's posted, and you can jump on the deal. And I have instructions on how to set up Google Alerts on the website, 3hourflip.com. I think it's in the Flip Tips section. I'll also put it in the show notes of this podcast, which you can find on the site by going to the podcast page of 3hourflip.com. And if email alerts aren't good enough for you, which they may not be, if you're like me, that's not quite good enough. You can even have mobile alerts set up to alert you directly on your phone. There's an awesome app out there that I highly recommend for any flippers. It's called CPro. There's a free version and a paid version. I think the paid version is a couple bucks. It's worth it to get the paid version. You can set up an unlimited number of alerts and criteria in that app. So when cars are listed on Craigslist, you're going to get a push notification. It's kind of like a text message. And you can contact the seller immediately. Alerts are great because you don't have to keep an eye on Craigslist all day. Deals are continuing to come to you. And if it's mobile alert, you probably have your phone on you and you probably check text messages a lot faster than you actually check emails. So it's even better than Google Alerts. And that's the way I do it. Another great way to get deals to come to you is to pay hired spotters and work personal referrals, because just about everyone knows someone that is thinking about buying or selling a car. Someone. Look to your sphere of influence to help you and offer to pay them. Pay anyone who helps you find a car that you can flip for profit. Now, obviously, you're not going to pay them for every single car they send you. That would be really stupid. But if someone finds a deal that you buy and make money on, you'll pay them a finder's fee. And pay them a big finder's fee. I mean, make it worth their while. You want them out there looking for you. I recommend $100 or more. I mean, it's another way to get leads on vehicles before anyone else knows they're going to be for sale. And the more eyeballs you have out there looking for you, the better. The more deals are going to actually come to you. Also, print out business cards and flyers. Hand them out. On the front of it, if you want to use that I buy cars, do I buy cars, or I'm looking for a good car, something like that. And on the back, say, I'll pay $100 for your help. List your phone number. I mean, again, more eyeballs working for you, time you don't have to spend out there looking for deals. They'll start coming to you. All right, so quick recap. 3 ways to get good deals to come to you. Wanted ads, instant alerts, and hired spotters. Definitely start doing that if you're interested in flipping cars today. All right, so let's get into some of today's questions. This one comes from Jamie. Jamie says, I see some cars listed at really cheap deals, but they have salvage titles. What does that mean? That's a really good question, Jamie, and every car flipper needs to be familiar with salvage titles and all title brands, really. A salvage title is a brand on a vehicle that notes the value has been damaged or deemed a total loss by an insurance company that paid a claim on it. It's also known as a totaled vehicle. That can make cars really tough to finance or insure, and it drives the value of the car way down because it scares buyers off. I mean, it's a supply and demand thing. While we're at it, let's just go over all the major branding on titles so that you're familiar with the most common types of car title brandings. Another one other than salvage title is rebuilt title. That is the replacement of the salvage title brand to rebuilt title. It's denoting that the vehicle has been repaired from a totaled status, visually inspected, and awarded a rebuilt title status by the state or jurisdiction that issues titles, wherever you're at. Same issue, it hurts the value a little bit. An irreparable title is another title type. That's pretty straightforward. It means the car can only be used for parts or scrapped. They're not legally drivable on U.S. roads. Clouded titles is another one. Clouded title, it typically refers to any title that's not a clean title, but it also includes titles that have liens against them. Usually titles with liens or loans against them keep ownership of the car from being transferred legally until the lien against the title is repaid to the lender. And most lien holders retain physical ownership of the title until the lien balance is paid. So if it's with your bank, the bank has a copy of the title and will not give you a title until you've paid the balance on the car off. Less common other title brands are buyback. That means that it's eligible for manufacturer buyback or replacement. Those are super rare. Wrecked, which is less common but very similar to salvage. Theft recovered is another one, which means someone stole the car and it was recovered by law enforcement. Another brand is abandoned, which is fairly self-explanatory. Nobody's claiming ownership of it. And another title brand is taxi or police, which means it was used by a state or a union as a taxi or police car. I personally avoid all types of titles except for clean titles. I only stick with clean titles. Clean title meaning, of course, it doesn't have any of those blemishes on it. Clean titles have none of those previously mentioned issues, And my experience, any title that is not clean just makes things more complicated. It requires extra effort, more conversations with buyers, all kinds of extra steps, and typically that extra effort does not pay off. At least it hasn't for me. Some people can probably make really good money on cars with title problems. I'm not one of them. There are just too many cars out there with clean titles, in my opinion, to worry about the ones without clean titles. That's just my opinion. So I think we have time for one more question, and it comes from Ben. Ben says, Jeremy, I only have $700 in cash saved. Is that enough for my first flip, or should I go borrow more? Well, Ben, please do not go borrow any money to flip any cars. I'm not a financial advisor, and I don't claim to give financial advice on this podcast. But I almost never recommend that anyone borrows money for flips. And I only say almost because there are extremely, and I mean extremely rare cases in which you might possibly be able to justify borrowing money to flip a car. I mean, if somebody offered me a $150,000 Lamborghini for $20,000, maybe as a gift or something, and I didn't have $20,000 in the bank, I'd borrow the money, but only after I had the car thoroughly inspected by someone who knew everything there is to know about Lamborghinis. And that would be super rare case. I mean, for just about every other type of case, I would say never borrow money to flip cars, ever. Only do it with money that you already have and that you can afford to lose. It increases your risk to borrow money big time. It increases your stress, it puts pressure on the process, your ease of selling it is more difficult. There are all kinds of other stuff, so just don't get yourself into a bind, especially, Ben, since this is your first flip. Do not borrow money. $700 is plenty of money for your first flip. I spent $850 on the first car that I ever flipped. I sold it for, I think it was $1,250, which was not a big profit by any means, but it was enough to motivate me for more car flipping. So, Ben, if you buy your first flip, for $700 and you sell it for $900 or $1,000, consider that an excellent success. You don't have to make a ton of money on your first few flips. I mean, that $1,000 $900 to $1,000 that you make, you can roll into another car and make bigger profits. So don't borrow money. Definitely wouldn't do that. And thanks for submitting your questions. So that is it for today. There are a couple questions I didn't get to this time. I'll try to get to them in the next episode. Remember that you can send your questions to jeremy@3hourflip.com. I'll try to answer them right here. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast in iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play Store, wherever you got the podcast. And visit me on 3hourflip.com for all kinds of other great flip tips and advice for buying and selling cars for profit. As always, cheers and happy flipping.